Not too long ago, we had an update that changed a number of weapons, and I've been putting time into them, testing them, and I'm not sure players realize just how much some of these guns improved. A few of them didn't just get better, some crossed into the elite territory. They're very good. So now's a perfect time to revisit some weapons you may have written off, or try a few that you've never seriously used before. There's a couple of these that are in my main rotations from now on, and I use them when I'm not making a guide for a weapon. Within this update, the developers introduced broad recoil tuning across automatic weapons. Some nerfs, some buffs. For a ton of them, they adjusted recoil behavior to better reflect real combat ranges, ease of use expectations, improving range consistency while preserving the weapon roll. And the wording matters. If you look through this list, across the patch notes, several different recoil terms are used. They don't all mean the same thing. There's just plainly reduced recoil, like the M123K, L110. It means that the gun kicks less overall, making sustained fire easier to control. Reduced recoil randomness, like the B36, M433. It means that the recoil pattern is now more predictable. That way your shots land more consistently at range. And in some cases, they remove certain traits and drifts of recoil patterns, taking away that randomness. Really good. There's increased recoil, obvious, means more kick. Weapon harder to control, less effective at a distance. Adjusted recoil, like the AK-205, the SOR-300. It means that the recoil values were changed. And in many cases, the pattern was reshaped to feel tighter, more reliable. And then we have adjusted recoil behavior, like the PW782. That goes even deeper when they use this term. It changes how the recoil builds over time, affecting the spray ramp up, recovery, and long engagement feel. So today we're going to break down the 5 biggest winners from this update, not just based on the patch notes, but it's based on what actually changed in real engagements with these weapons. These are weapons that gain control, they gain consistency, flexibility. By in the video, you're going to know exactly which guns deserve a second look, and which ones just moved up the ladder. And note here, this list was made by overall change, like how much it helped the weapon, how much they were buffed as a result of all this. And I have my reasonings, we're going to go through them, and for each weapon I also have a build setup, that way you can test it out yourself. First, outside of the top 5 are the machine guns. The M123K, reduced recoil to improve sustained fire control. That reinforces its role as a belt-fed machine gun. And then the L110. Again, reduced recoil. Now, the only reason they're outside of the top 5 is because I personally have not put that much time into them. The others on this list I have. I haven't done deep dives on these. However, that being said, I've shot every weapon, knowing before and after. These very well might be inside the top 5. Like, the changes are now very good. The L110 is more of a laser. The M123K is a sleeper. High fire rate, way more controllable. So all of you that do have these leveled up, that you put time into them, let us know how these changes feel. So off the rip, these are 2 to look at and level up if you haven't. I know that I am. Coming in at number 5, we've got the LMR-27, and this one didn't get recoil tuning, it didn't get randomness adjustments, it didn't get behavioral smoothing, it got something bigger. It's the only weapon in this update that received a direct damage buff. The LMR-27 went from 27 damage to 28, and that's matching the new GRT CPS. I've already reviewed, I think it's very strong, I love it. That single point of damage matters way more than it sounds, because with synthetic rounds, the breakpoints completely change. Inside 21.5 meters, this thing can now 2-shot to the head. 50 damage a headshot, lightning fast. But arguably the bigger change is mid-range. From 21.5 to 75 meters, you can now secure kills with 1 head, 2 body, as long as you have synthetic rounds. That 1 head, 2 body breakpoint comes up constantly. It didn't before. It means cleaner finishes, fewer trades, more secured kills. And the LMR-27 is already a precision weapon, low starting ammo, not built for panic spraying, not really built for chaos. It's built for players to hold lanes, snap to heads, and control engagements. And this buff increases the punishment factor. I love this thing. Like I said, I'm an LMR truther. I have it, I believe, at level 55. And when you know what you're doing with it, you want no part of being on the other end of this thing. Seriously. If you're accurate, your time to kill drops hard at that 20-40 meter range where most engagements actually happen. Inside 21.5 meters, the 2 headshots just elites. It's a ceiling buff, but not only that, a usability buff, because that 1 head, 2 body combo gives you real forgiveness. And I know a lot of people don't love this weapon. Hate it. But after this change, give it another look. It rips. The build that you've been seeing in the background, the one that I'm using, what I recommend, flash hider, extended barrel, the 10-point folding vertical, the 25-point 15-round fast mag, synthetic rounds, side of choice. And yes, the mag is expensive. And it's still low. It's still low rounds, 15. But that's the trade-off to get this thing to its ceiling. Those 15 rounds are significantly more lethal now. And that's why it lands at number 5. At number 4, we got the M277. This one's straightforward. It received reduced recoil. That way it can be more effective at range. And sometimes simple is scary. The M277 already hits hard. Its damage profile was never the issue. Up to 75 meters, it's 25 to the body, no matter what. The issue was control, especially with sustained fire. That's what's changed. And what's nice about having a channel, it's kind of like a time capsule. You can go back and look at things. And in guides, I've always talked about weapons having traits. The trait for the M277 was that it can and would violently hook to the right. This is pre-update footage, the original M277 recoil, so they took that trait away. They took away that hooking. Now it's just top right recoil, so all you need to do is have bottom left recoil reduction. Way more manageable. Before, it would immediately jump and try to hook right. Now it still jumps a tad, but it's to the top right. The first 1 to 6 bullets are a lot more clean. On the top, I have the plots from before. On the bottom are the new plots. With the reduced recoil, this thing is noticeably easier to beam at mid to long range. Mid to long, you're going to tap it, but regardless, the M277 is one of the best in the game in mid-range. It is. Now, the vertical climb is more manageable because it's not hooking. The horizontal deviation feels a ton tighter. Extended sprays are far more consistent, but one thing I noticed is that any muzzle that touched horizontal, meaning the brakes, especially the 20-point brake or the converter, those are the ones that stand out. And after playing with it, it became a lot more reliable. I love this thing, and let me tell you, it got better. Less fighting the gun, more fighting the enemy, and that's a big deal. And you're going to feel it in mid to long engagements now. The build I have in the gameplay is the 10-point converter, 15-point extended barrel, 35 classic grip, the 25-point 25-round fast mag, standard ammo, side of choice. If you want, you can bump down the vertical to the 25-point and add in a suppressor or the 20-point brake. Especially this one, each one of these builds, go to the range and see how those first couple shots are firing. It's very noticeable with the M277 now. It's still a mid-range beast. It got a ton of help, and that's why it lands at number 4. Try it out. At number 3, we've got the QBZ-192. This one didn't get a raw recoil reduction. It got something arguably more important. Reduced recoil randomness, and this was to ensure that it remains competitive relative to the updated assault rifles. It feels great. This reduced randomness matters a lot more than players think, because randomness is what loses gunfights that you should win. I've tried the QBZ before this update a little bit, but now I've pushed it into a full guide. It's going to be one of my next guides coming up. I have it at level 28. When that recoil randomness gets tightened, the spray becomes more predictable, the horizontal deviation becomes more consistent, your follow-up shots land where you expect them to go. This thing has been an absolute laser beam for me. Look at how accurate it is. So that means there's a high ceiling for it. It shares the same exact damage profile and RPM as the DRS, the fan favorite LMG. But this is in carbine form. There's a lot more to explore, and we will. And I always felt that this was solid mid-range, good damage profile, competitive time to kill, but it could feel inconsistent at times. So that inconsistency is what got cleaned up. 30 to 60 meter fights, gun behaves a lot better. You can dot people down with it. It doesn't randomly kick off target in the middle of a burst. And I just can't believe how accurate it is. Bullets land where you're aiming, and that makes it way more reliable in actual engagements. And it's the kind of buff that players won't notice right away, because when the recoil randomness goes down, your control matters more than luck. And when consistency goes up, so does the confidence. At one point, I had this number 1 on my list. I'm enjoying it that much. But there's 2 more that I feel got more beneficial buffs to them. Build from the gameplay, flash hider, 15-point extended barrel, 25-point vertical grip, 36-round magazine, hollow points, or rail cover, side of choice. This is a weapon that gets very little street cred. Try it out. At number 2, the M433. And this very well might be number 1. It got one of the biggest glow-ups. This weapon received reduced recoil randomness, along with the B36, L85, and the SOR. And the goal was to improve consistency and effectiveness at longer ranges. And that's a change that doesn't really look huge in patch notes, but feels massive once you start using it. Pre-update, the M433 had a nasty trail to the right when you fired it. Immediately, 3 to 5 bullets would just jump right. And this made the first initial target tough if you didn't have proper recoil management, but also at a distance. It was kind of a skill weapon. You could control it, you'd put in work. With this update, they removed that trailing at the start, and when we look at the recoil plots from before and after, at the top is before, bottom is after. Remember, recoil plots can change magazine to magazine, but the traits don't. You can see now it doesn't kick at the start. As a matter of fact, the first 3 to 4 bullets are grouped way better than before. And B, they gave it more precision. Look at the groupings later in the recoil. Much tighter on the center line, it goes up to the top right. So the spray pattern tightened up, horizontal kick became more consistent, your follow-up shots land where you expect them to. And honestly, this weapon was just about this exact buff away, because the M433 on paper and in-game competes. It has a 3-zone drop-off curve, 25 damage, 830 RPM. That 4-shot buddy up to 21.5 is great. And damage and RPM wise, in comparison, it outranges the M4 carbine, the direct competitor, the new VCR. Though it shoots slightly slower, it is way more reliable to land shots. And after using it, not only does it help short to mid-range, it's an absolute beast. One of the biggest helps to this recoil change is its long-range burst feathering, because it doesn't trail. It feels incredible. It's very, very pinpoint when you feather it. It already had strong fundamentals, good damage, solid fire rate, the ability to compete in that 25-50 meter range where a lot of fights actually happen. Its problem was that consistency, and that inconsistency is what just got cleared up. This recoil change really does turn it into one of the strongest rifles in the game. It absolutely shows up in real gunfights. And just like the others that got their horizontal recoil touched with recoil changes, any type of further attachment help goes a very long way. Feels completely different, like even better with brakes, converter, things like that. The build in the gameplay is a 20-point brake, 15-point barrel, 25-point vertical, 25-point 40-round magazine, standard ammo, and a side of choice. It's scary good. It was before, but now it's just a whole new beast. That's why I have the M433 at number 2. And at number 1, the USG90. Why do I have the P90 as receiving the biggest glow up out of all the weapons in the update? Along with the PW7A2, they adjusted recoil behavior to improve effectiveness at range while slightly increasing handling difficulty up close. I didn't really notice a change there. The big thing is adjusting recoil behavior. That wording matters for a number of reasons. First of all, the P90 doesn't have an underbarrel. Can't even accept one, meaning that recoil help, specifically control help, can only come from something like this, an update, a buff. But this wasn't just a recoil number change. They changed how the gun behaves during sustained fire, which is huge for it. Look at it now and we can talk about what happened. Its recoil is way more contained. Lethal. The recoil builds more predictably over time, which makes the weapon noticeably more controllable at mid-range. And not only that, mid to long and even long, it is a laser. And remember, this is an SMG version of the Cord, essentially. Faster handling, things like that. And the strength of the P90, the 3 things that it has at its core, are still there. This is just added on top. It still has high magazine, 51 rounds. It has great accuracy in close quarters from the hip, but also its lightweight function. It wins duels by being mobile and highly accurate while strafing. Because it doesn't have an underbarrel, that leaves a ton of points on the table that you can put into accuracy, the barrel, your strafe, lightweight ammo, whatever, get hipfire high, mobility high, or even add in hollow points. This weapon's always had a horizontal walk, and after this update, they toned it way down. Before, once the fights kind of pushed past close quarters, the recoil started working against you, even at mid-range. Longer sprays, the full 51 rounds, became a lot harder to manage. That's what the update fixed. Now it holds together much better in 20 to 40 meters. Even beyond that, the recoil deviation, the left and right walk, is very subtle now. Now, it's going to have some points where it's going to do it a lot, because there is recoil variation, but most of the time, it's very small. Just enough that every bullet can still stay on target at longer ranges. Anything closer than that, that just means the shots are landing. It's a weapon that can push, hold angles, win mid-range fights even long without feeling out of place. It got so much better. I love the P90. And with all these weapon updates, I kept coming back to it. There were 2 build setups in the background gameplay. One was a 20-point compensated brake, heavy extended barrel, the 30-point blue laser, 50-round mag, hollow points, and a side of choice. The other was hip fire mobility. Again, very good. 20-point brake, 20-point light barrel, 30-point blue laser, regular magazine, lightweight ammo, and a side of choice. So 71 hip fire, 78 mobility. Great control, great precision. It's a beast. It's been performing, it's very good, and that's why I have it as number 1 on my list. All of these weapons in the update got better. Well, the ones that got adjusted as a buff, like the B36, LE5, some interesting ones like the PW. Try them all. But to me, what stood out was the LMR27 getting lethal breakpoint changes, M277 becoming easier to control, far more reliable in sustained fights, QBZ tightened everything up, reduced randomness, and I feel really raised its ceiling, while making its floor still top tier. The M433 cleared up its spray, became much more reliable at mid to long range, and the P90 gained versatility, turning what used to be kind of a chaos close quarters weapon into something that can be confidently used in multiple distances. If you haven't tried them, try them. Now's a great time to give them another look. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let me know down in the comment section which weapons that you're liking and what surprised you since the update. And also if there's anything that you think should have made this list. And what's cool about things like this is everyone's list is going to be different. I'd love to hear yours. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.